welcome to Ride with GNR. Today, George and I take our motorcycle Connie over the Florida Keys Overseas Highway. We went to Florida for our honeymoon and always wanted to go again, so this time we decided to go check out the Keys, and what better way than to ride the highway.
This particular trip, we took the motorcycle to the Florida Keys on board our toy hauler camper, and we got reservations on short notice at Fiesta Key RV and Resort, which worked out absolutely perfect on this trip. One of the first things that really surprised me about making our trip out off the Florida Keys was just how much land mass there actually was. And while I was concerned about not having enough access to fuel and food on the islands, I was very mistaken, as there are plenty of options pretty much all the way down to Key West for all of those things. One of the perks of staying at Fiesta Key and the next few RV parks, which you'll see us pass by shortly, puts you around the halfway mark between Miami and Key West, and any of these spots provide an ideal location for getting up, having a lazy morning, and then making your way down towards Key West, which will still take a couple of hours to do so. Maybe even more depending on traffic. Bahia Honda is probably one of the more economical ways to stay in the Florida Keys in a tent or camper, and that is where we wound up going back to snorkel based on a local recommendation.
George has wanted to ride this highway for a long time. Personally, I didn't even think about it till I watched the movie True Lies. Thankfully, I got to ride over the highway a lot more comfortably than Jamie Lee Curtis did. One of the things I love about being on a motorcycle is I feel so free. I can experience things differently than in a car. In a car, you have forced air to breathe, and your visibility is limited by the frame of the car. And on a motorcycle, I can smell the salt air and the flowers we ride by, and I can turn my head to look at all the sights around me. Of course, George has to keep his eyes on the road. Ha! Sucks to be him.
One of the things you need to be very prepared for when traveling the overseas highway is rain. We found that showers would spring up very quickly out over the Keys and out over this stretch of highway, so be prepared to get very wet and be prepared to dry off very quickly afterward. However, we did not get caught in anything like when we were leaving the Keys, and fortunately we were in our truck and camper by that point, because you would definitely be windblown, wet, and miserable otherwise. I don't think you could have asked for any more perfect afternoon to roll into Key West. The weather was just absolutely perfect for us, and stayed that way the whole afternoon. We roamed around the streets right up until the point when we left, where you could tell it was starting to get pretty cloudy and the rain was beginning to roll in. After several hours of walking around town, and we decided it was time to leave, we had to go check out the furthest southeast point in the continental United States, but we didn't want to wait in that big long line that you see as we go by, so we decided to just roll by on our motorcycle and get some still frames from the GoPros. Robin, how does your soap taste?
It's delicious. Thank you.
You gotta watch these guys like peddling soap on the street.
I thought it was fudge. So, a word of advice, boys and girls. If someone on the street hands you a plate and asks you if you'd like to try a sample, ask what it is first. Trust me, you're better off. Here we are at the Shipwreck Museum in Key West. It was pretty cool seeing all the treasures that had been salvaged from past shipwrecks. If you guys get a chance to check it out, we highly recommend it. And on the roof of the museum is a lookout over all of Key West. It's a bit of a steep climb, but I managed to climb all the way to the top for a photo op. It took me a while, but I did it. There's proof. Enjoy riding off into the sunset. Ever since I was a kid, I enjoyed watching the clouds and guessing what shapes they look like. And when the sun is behind a cloud highlighting the edges in gold, it's always awe-inspiring to me. Here we're passing by Bahia Honda State Park, which is an awesome park. They're booked up pretty far in advance, so you either want to call well ahead of time to stay there, or you can stay for the day. We were trying to make it home to our campsite before it started raining. I'd never been on a motorcycle before in the rain, and I started noticing all these sharp stinging sensations on my arms and legs, and it finally dawned on me, oh, this is rain when you're going at high speed. But thankfully we made it home before it really hit. As you can see with the lightning storm that George here is taking pictures of. It's pretty awesome. Almost every morning it was thunder and lightning storms, and every evening. But it cleared up to be beautiful during the rest of the day. Dinner and a show.